Hello, everyone. This is Jude Rexon from upGrad KnowledgeHut. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone joining us from around the world. Welcome to the masterclass from upGrad KnowledgeHut. I'm Jude Rexon, and it's a pleasure to have all of you here with us today. So today we're going to be talking about project management and how that has changed enormously over the last few years, right? Projects have been moving faster, teams work across continents, AI is becoming part of everyday workflows, and organizations expect all of this to just happen through their project managers. And it's not just about simply managing timelines anymore. The challenge is way, way greater. So yeah, that's the gap that we have identified as Knowledge Hut, and that's the gap we're trying to close here today. The gap is again, the scope of work and the scale is all changing. AI is making it even more great and even more complex, and all of this is resulting in a gap, and that gap is what we're closing today. And this topic is going to be career growth with PMP from a project coordinator to strategic project leader, right? So it really covers the entire breadth of your subject. So over the next hour, we'll look at how the role of a project manager is evolving, what employers are really looking for today, and how professionals can position themselves for the next stage of their careers. And to guide us through that conversation, we are joined by someone who spent years leading projects across global organizations. Uh, Please join me in welcoming Zahari Mohd. Um, so Zach is a certified ACTA or ACLP trainer, PMP, certified project management associate, CSM. As you can see, he's got lots of things under his belt. He's certified pro, and with over 13 years of experience as a trainer and 20 years at Motorola as a software developer, project manager, and PMO member, Zach is a knowledgeable instructor. You guys are in very safe hands, right? So, Zach has experience with various project management methodologies and has developed project management processes, procedures, and templates. And as you can see, it's all good, right? So, I've heard a few of our members actually ask, "What is PMP?" I saw that in the comment there below. So before before all the questions keep popping up, I'll hand it over to you, Zach. Clear out our audience's doubts.
Sure. All right. First, straight away answer what is PMP? It's Project Management Professional, right? A certification by PMI. We'll talk more about that later. So, welcome. And team, very depending on where you are. And I'm honored to have you in this session. And I thank you for attending this webinar. So we're going to go through this topic on evolution of PMP through PMBOK 8, right? The agenda we're going to cover today, Project Management Professional by PMI, which is Project Management Institute. PMBOK is Project Management Body of Knowledge. So why PMBOK 8 edition? Why they have it, right? What have changed in PMBOK 8 and the impact of the changes, future of project management, and PMP exam 2026 transition, which I think most of you are excited about. So why is PMP so important? Because it's globally recognized credential, and it's the most sought after credential for project management. And even NASA, right, with its many critical missions, at that time they believe in having a structured project management knowledge and skills. So in 1988, NASA actually set Academy of Program, Project, and Engineering Leadership, or in short called APPLE, APPEL. It's headed by Dr. Hoffman. So at that time, they choose to partner with a project management institution or agencies. They were evaluating various of this agency and institution. They want to base on choosing PMI as their partner. right? And they even become a REP for PMI, which is Registered Education Provider, right? So they can get credited for all the courses they conduct in-house, right? So without having to go outside. So they themselves are recognized because they are accredited by PMI, all the courses about project management. So imagine how important is PMP, right? And actually, talking about NASA, and just now, June mentioned that I worked in Motorola before. So I was in Motorola for 20 years, right? And similarly, just like NASA, so Motorola in 2006, our CIO decided we have to have a proper structure to project management based on certain standard, right? Not just any ad hoc, not any way, our own customized way, whichever way we find that we can perform at the time. So again, we come down to what CIO said, let's base on the PMI standard of project management. And every project manager must be a certified PMP, right? So that's a directive. So that's where I came into the picture, all right? So I received or obtained my PMP certification in 2006 at the time, right? So you can imagine from 2006 to now, I actually have lived through the evolution of the PMBOK, right? From the fourth edition to the current eighth edition, right? So of course, based on this standard, you have a common project management language, a lot of terms, terminology, and concepts. So we all use the same terminology, right? So we have standard, common standard, or rather common language for project management. It improves credibility and career prospect. So again, imagine if NASA wants to certify their project manager, Motorola wants to certify, so of course it improves our credibility, right? If you have clients, if your organizations manage project for clients, of course the clients wants to see that all the project managers are certified. Career prospect, if you notice when you look for advertisements from organization, you normally can see this phrase, PMP certification is preferred for project managers, right? So it improve your career prospect. And it's very this standard of project management, demonstrate leadership and delivery capability. It's proven. So many projects successfully. Right? The expanded professional network. PMI has more than 300 local chapters, they call it. So local chapters are association led and managed by PMPs, project management professionals, certified by PMI, right? And they organize a lot of networking events, seminars. You can even contribute. When you are a PMP, you can contribute by presenting, or you can join the numerous networking events that they have, right? So it's very useful. And nowadays, the PMBOK supports the various approaches, agile, and hybrid development approaches. When I started a long time ago, of course, I think by now you can tell how old I am. Huh? So when I started, it was mainly based on traditional project management, predictive approach. And nowadays, based on the evolution, the dynamism of things going on around us, so that's why we have to include other approaches like agile and hybrid. So what about this PMBOK 8 edition? Once we go through those evolution from, I've lived through those evolution from 4th edition to 8th edition. So they keep improving. Actually, PMI launch or release new edition every 4 to 5 years, right? To reflect what's currently going on, what's important for a project manager. So again, it incorporates agile, hybrid, and even AI-enabled work. PMI has a tool, right? We all have to make use of AI or get involved in AI one way or another because it's growing and growing as becoming part of our life. So PMI has an AI tool called Infinity to assist the PM in the project management. Data-driven, information-driven. Using the tool, it assists us in many processes within project management. It can even create a project charter for us. Right? Just describe what a project is about and what's the goal and objective. It helps us in documentation. It helps us in identifying stakeholders, how to engage stakeholders, what kind of stakeholders. It helps in risk management, identifying risk, analyzing. In fact, every part now we can use AI to assist us. And PMI and the PMBOK actually, since the 7th edition to now, start to focus a lot on value delivery, right? No longer project manager is just to implement something successfully. No longer it's just about deliver according to scope, on time, on budget. No, we have to grow ourselves. So what actually are we achieving? Okay, the main thing is about value and benefit for the organization and benefit for the customer, right? So focus on the value, right? Rather than just implementing, right? Which should be more of a strategy rather than just a team leader and implementer. And PMBOK edition simplifies concept for practical application. Basically, it reduces the processes. I won't say reduce, it's embedded. Some of the processes are embedded. So instead of having so many processes, now it's a bit reduced. So simplify it. And PMBOK 8th edition also include how to apply these processes to the various approaches. How to apply to predictive, how to apply to agile, how to apply to hybrid. Okay, we'll talk more about that later. And aligns with our real world practice. So in the real world, it's a very dynamic, just very fast, right? So we cannot just follow the same approach from 20 years ago to now, right? So we have to apply things like, can we deliver something early? Can we deliver something that's workable? Can we deliver features by features, module, not just the whole system or the whole product and service all at one go, which we used to do in the traditional method or approach, right? Which I'm sure, I mean, in IT, most of you are familiar with waterfall, which is also predictive. So from PMBOK 6 and earlier version, very process heavy, right? PMI defined the number of processes, what kind of stage in the project that you need to perform these processes. And the exam also focus a lot on processes, remembering the process name, remembering the tools and techniques, remembering the output. So very much focus, not so much about how to manage people, what kind of soft skills required. Right? So very heavily focused on processes. And at PMBOK 6, actually they start introducing the concept of agile, okay? Very high level. From there, they moved to PMBOK 7 about 5 years ago. So this is quite a major shift in terms of mindset, right? So again, from the traditional project manager being someone who just focus on implementing successfully based on scope, schedule, and budget. So we need to focus a lot more, right? So they provide principles, guiding principles, right? So later on, I'm going to go into more detail about these principles, and simplifies the process domain, the performance domain, and also simplifies the number of processes and also the focus area, which I'll cover later. So in the PMP exam, now it's equal focus on the various approaches. Right? In the 5th and 4th 100% exam focus on processes, right? And predictive kind of processes, traditional or waterfall. So now the exam is equally balanced, focused on predictive, agile, and hybrid. And as mentioned earlier, the most important shift is the value mindset, right? So define as a project manager, our project, we are implementing a change. What benefit does it bring to the organization? How is our project aligned to the company strategy? All right. We need to know more than just being assigned a project and implementing. So define the benefit, and after implementation, track the benefits, whether we are actually getting the gains that we plan for. In PMBOK 8, again, further simplification. The principles are simplified by reducing the number of principles. The number of domains, performance domains, have been simplified by reducing also. And the number of processes are simplified by reducing also. So we'll see later. I'll describe what are the changes in that. So with this, it provides a balanced approach on the execution of the project and people management. So people management domain has been added in the 7th edition and is continue from there. So we know people are the important group that enables successful implementation of a project. So instead of just what to do, what process to perform, how to manage the people, right? How to manage our stakeholders. That is key. So that was introduced in 7, and now we have it in PMBOK 8 as well, right? So it's a balanced approach. Value mindset, delivering benefits, successful execution, and people management. So continue from there. So we have 6 actionable principles. Previously, it was 12. So I will expand again for each of these bullet points here in the next few slides, right? So 7 performance domain. Previously, it was 10. And simplification of processes from 49 to 40. And again, PMBOK now added how to use AI to assist us in project management and also make us aware about sustainability, right? Going green, right? Climate change, how can we help in this area as well when we are managing project? And adaptability. So moving from predictive approach to hybrid and to agile to allow adaptability. We need to adapt to the constant changes. Right? We cannot allow ourselves to be fixed in one one scope, face the requirement, implement according to all that. So what happens when something changes in between, right? We have to manage a lot of changes. Huh? So how to be adaptable. So let's come to these principles. It's included in 7th edition and now simplified in the 8th edition. So these are behavioral guideposts for project managers. So there are 6 of them now. For example, the first one, holistic system thinking. So how to ensure seamless integration at every stage of the project. How to ensure alignment at every stage of the project to our goals and objectives and also to the business strategy. And aligning to the project objective we have defined. So look at the bigger scope. There's so many interaction, coordination to be done. And also proactively manage risks and engage stakeholders throughout. To ensure collaboration, foster an environment of collaboration. This is key also, to work more with the stakeholders. It's not just define something with the stakeholder and then disappear at some other time in the future. We meet them again to discuss, for example, requirements phase, we engage stakeholders, and then design phase, and we can engage stakeholders, and then so on. Build phase, testing phase. So how about getting them involved all the time? Get their recommendation, discuss with them. Right? So when we move to adaptive approach, this is what we need to do to engage stakeholders more regularly as compared to traditional method or predictive. Again, another principle here is saying value delivery focus. So continuously evaluate and adjust to make sure we are still going to meet the value that we have defined, the benefits we have defined, right? So always align back to that. Another one called quality in process and deliverables. Right? So maintain consistent focus on achieving the quality threshold, achieving the quality standards that we have defined. Ensure that all outcomes throughout the project will meet the project objective, especially the quality metrics that we have defined. Whether it's the deliverables or the processes, the way we perform. Be an accountable leader. We are the steward of the ship as a project manager. So be accountable, always guide the team, guide the stakeholders, and even guide our decisions based on integrity. Right? Make responsible decisions. Foster a culture of trust and responsibility. Right? Sustainability consideration, as mentioned earlier. So be aware of the impact our project have in terms of people, society, the planet, the environment, right? So consider all this. We don't want to, if our project is managing some kind of toxic chemical, we don't want to be just throwing it away anywhere, right? So be aware and take proper actions, right? So as PM, we should enable this, right? You should be aware of this. And the last principle here, based on PMBOK 8, is empowered culture. Build a culture where you can foster collaboration, empower the team, empower the stakeholders. So again, enables the stakeholders and team members to contribute their ideas. Any recommendation to meet the project objective, right? We as a PM, we are not expert in everything, right? So that's why we have teams, we have stakeholders. So engage them, right? Allow them to contribute, allow them to make decisions, especially our team members. So when we feel empowered, especially me, right? If I know that I'm being trusted, I am more responsible, I'm more accountable, I am more motivated, right? So build that culture of empowerment. Performance domain, it has been consolidated from 10 to 7. So we have this governance, scope, schedule, finance, stakeholders, resources, and risks. Previously, we also have procurement, communication, quality. Previously, governance was known as integration. So they changed it, right, to not just focus on integrating processes, integrating systems, but also to ensure governance, project governance, and also ensuring compliance, right? So integrated into this domain called governance. process integration, system integration, ensuring compliance, and also have proper project governance for check and balance and accountability. And finance used to be known as cost management. So it's renamed to finance for the PM to have, again, a broader role. Huh? So PM is not just simply tracking project budget, right? PM must actively lead the project investment. So project is an investment for the business, for the organization. Right? So have this mindset. Finance, not just managing budget, also ensuring that we maximize business value. Right? We ensure business benefit. Business benefit, like, various examples like increased profit margin, perhaps, more customers. So focus on all that, not just about managing budget. We used to have procurement and quality, like I mentioned. So that has been also consolidated into the governance domain. And communication domain has been consolidated into the stakeholder domain. Because communication is about information management to the stakeholders, right? Stakeholders, team members, everyone involved in the project, right? We need to manage this communication. And we have something called focus areas and processes. So the how and the when, okay? How to perform the processes, when to perform the processes. Right? So we have 5 focus areas. It used to be called process groups, right? In the previous version, it's called process groups. So why change? Right? So process group are like initiating, planning, executing, monitoring, controlling, and closing. It still remains the same. It's just that changing of the name is to ensure that we don't just think of performing the process within that process group, right? Now the processes should be adaptable, depending on the project context, right? So the processes are quite fluid. Not everything must be performed at certain stage. So process group means you perform that process within that group. So change it, make it more flexible, make it more adaptable based on the project context. In terms of processes, now we have 40 in PMBOK 8. It used to be 49, right? So what are the processes to be performed? Right? For example, elicit and analyze requirements. What are the processes? Closing process, closing phase or project. Identify risk, identify stakeholders, plan to engage stakeholders. All these are various processes, 40 of them. So to simplify, instead of you remembering 49, so now you need to remember 40 processes for the exam. When I was taking my exam based on PMBOK 4th edition, there were 42 processes. And every time there's a new edition, I find that processes are being added. Okay. Always adding. So every time I look at new edition, I said, must be more processes to remember. So from 42, at the 6th edition become 49. Wow, so many processes to remember. And we have to remember processes for each process, how many, each process, they have the output of the process, the tools and technique of the process, the list of inputs for the processes. So all this you will see later when you attend the course, right? So there's a lot of things to remember. So now we have less, we have 40, right? That's good. Practical guidance return. What does this mean? So in PMBOK 7, PMI decided to split the standards and the principles into one book and process into a separate book. So the PMBOK 7 doesn't describe the processes. It talks about the standards and the principles. So every time we want to study, we have to refer to two books: the principles and standards and the processes. So now this is back again. So now we have only one book, one PMBOK with the principles, standards, as well as the 40 processes described in one book. Right? And again, PMBOK includes, for each process, they will describe how to perform the process for predictive approach, for agile approach, and for hybrid approach. Right? So it's more applicable now, right? Based on what approach, which approach. So with all these changes, what's the impact on the organization? Better alignment with the company strategy, right? So again, always focus on value, focus on benefits, and align with the company strategy, right? How does the company benefit? How does the customer benefit? And again, talking about benefits, focus on benefit realization. It's not just defining the benefit, but track whether we actually realize the benefit. What have we gained after implementation? It's not just end a project, that's it. Okay, happy, done, I'm done. But as part of the organization, we need to track the benefits that we plan to gain, right? Improve agility and adaptability. As mentioned before, how we become adaptable, how we become more agile, right? Have this idea of how quickly we can implement something, right? So can we break up the product or service into multiple releases? Adapt to changes. Cannot just fix what we define now. 1 year later, when we want to implement, a lot of things have changed. Right? The features, some features may be obsolete. So how to be agile? How to be adaptable? So organization must be able to, from the management onwards, not just the development team, management onwards, need to have this mindset. How to bring value faster, earlier. How can our development team be agile, be adaptable? So now the PMBOK covers all that, right? Processes need to be performed. How do we perform in the various approaches? All right, enhanced governance and stakeholder engagement. So as mentioned earlier, governance now is one of the performance domain. Instead of just the word integration, so now it becomes governance. Ensure accountability. Ensure there's a project governance. Ensure compliance as well. Now the PMBOK emphasizes a lot about compliance. We don't want to have any liability after we implement something. We don't want to get sued. If our product or service do not comply to certain regulation or standard, right? And stakeholder engagement, as I mentioned, we consider more regular engagement of stakeholders. to get their opinions, their contributions, their feedback, their recommendation. They become active part of the project. And the PMBOK also emphasized a lot about this word collaboration. Now it's all about collaboration, not just regular engagement. A lot more gain, advantage in collaborating, right? Synergy among team members, project managers, stakeholders. Impact on project managers, less memorization, more application. In the PMP exam, it's no longer about having a good memory. That was how it was when I was taking the exam 20 years ago. A lot of things are based on memory, very process focused. So now the exam is very scenario based. Assess your understanding. PM must be able to evaluate, analyze the situation before choosing the right option. Right? So no longer very direct question like what is this, what is that, what is this, what is that. No? Of course, there's a question at the end, but it's based on the scenario, based on that situation. How to apply the processes based on certain scenarios. So that's more applicable in real life as well. Okay? I observed, last time I was a PMO, right? Was the last few years in Motorola. So I observed that at that time, a lot of our project managers passed the PMP exam, no issue, because they have good memory. But observing them when they're managing project, somehow it doesn't relate the passing our exam certification to how they apply it in their project. So I'm happy, glad that now they move from memorization to understanding, right? Understanding the process and how to apply based on the various scenario. Greater focus on leadership and people management. So project manager is a leader and a manager. So you must have good leadership skills, must be able to apply the various leadership styles to various situations and also based on the individuals. Right? So also talking about people management. So that's why in 7th edition, they include a domain called people, right? Previously, I just processed, 100%. So people management I included as one of the domain. Focus on soft skills. Focus on leadership skills, communication skills, motivational skills. So all these are covered in PMBOK and also, of course, covered in the course itself, right? Stronger business acumen required. So just like people domain was created in the exam content outline, right, or ECO. For those who are not familiar with what is exam content outline or ECO, basically exam content outline are list of tasks that a project manager are expected to perform, right, in a project. So they created list of tasks under people management, list of tasks in the process domain, and also list of tasks in the business environment domain. Right? So coming back to this stronger business acumen required. So they have this domain called business environment. So you should be familiar with your organization, the business strategy. Risk based on overall, not just project, but could be to the business, which may also impact the project. So important knowledge to have is business acumen. Because project manager, again, I repeat, no longer just about implementing a project based on scope, on time, and on budget. Right? So you, the PM, should also be a strategist. Right? You are doing a project aligned to the business strategy. All right, understanding of AI, we have to be part of this AI world. Right. As I mentioned, PMI has an AI tool called Infinity. So you as a PM, you can adopt this, make use of it. Huh? Use this AI assistance. It's there. Right? Information that you need available, data that you need available to form good decisions for your project. And again, think about sustainability and also have a value-driven mindset. So what the future holds, again, is all about AI-assisted project management. You can be more efficient, spend less time on non-value-added activities when most of the information that you need can come from AI. Hybrid delivery become a standard. Now it's becoming a norm. For organizations, they may not be able to be fully agile, and they don't want to be fully predictive. So have hybrid approach means combination of them depending on the project context. What kind of project you need to implement. You may have a huge project. For example, you want to build a hub, like a Tampines Hub, lifestyle center. Tampines Hub has even a stadium inside the hub, right? They have a place to watch movies. So it's really a lifestyle center where people will spend a lot of time there, right? So I'm just giving you an example, right? So if you want to, you have that project, you need to implement or you need to build the commercial building. So the building construction more or less can be predictive, right? Or all the other areas can be adaptive, can be agile. All the other facilities can be customizable, right? The retail areas also customizable. So you can combine the various approaches. So hybrid is becoming a norm. Again, increased emphasis on business outcome. So how does your project bring benefits? Again, bring value to the organization. How does it helps the business? Right? So I mentioned about the PMP exam content online or ECO. I mentioned about these three domains: people domain, process domain, and business environment domain. So somehow there's something wrong in my slide here. So people domain is 33% now, right? In the 7th edition, it was 42%. Now it's 33%. Some of the task goes into business environment because MI want to emphasize about, again, PM being a strategist, not just implementing. So more tasks go into business environment from 8% to 26%. So people environment is 42% to 33%, and process domain from 50% to 41%. So some tasks from process domain goes into business environment domain. So the new PMP transition, PMBOK was released at the end of 2025. It was launched then. New PMP exam will be aligned to the updated exam content outline, which is the release date was January 2026. The previous version of exam content outline is the 2021 version. So the exam content outline is the syllabus for the exam, right? the PMP exam will cover all the tasks in the exam content outline. And the course materials are also aligned to all the tasks in the exam content outline. Right? So latest is the 2026 version. So as I mentioned earlier, exam questions are scenario-based. And questions can also cover a scenario about sustainability, about ethics, and how you ensure value delivery. So ethics means always do the right thing, right? Especially in terms of safety. Even if you are going to delay the project, if there's a safety concern, you have to stop it, right? You have questions like this in the exam. So the current PMP exam available until 8th July. The new PMP exam will launch globally on the 9th of July this year. All right. Time now for Q&A. Jude?
Yes, yes. Everyone, I hope that was quite informative. Thank you, Zach. So I think
Welcome.
this session has answered a lot of questions for a lot of people here. I hope and I believe that, at least where project managers, regarding project managers and where professionals can look forward to and where project management is headed. But of course, every career journey is different. So, we'd like to open the floor to you guys, right? Whether you're wondering about PMP or career progression, the realities of managing large programs, or simply where to begin, this is your opportunity to ask someone who's been there, right? Zach can answer that. So,
Sure.
guys, we'll spend the next few minutes answering as many questions as we can. Please drop in your questions in the chat and we'll answer them as fast and as efficiently as possible. Uh, Floor is open. So I'll just read out the first one that I'm seeing. If you were in my position, so Rahul Mathur to everyone says, if you were in my position today, 9+ years in sales and service management, pursuing AI and PMP skills and wanting to move into project/program management, what exact steps would you take over the next 6 months to maximize your chances of landing a PMP, a PM role? So that's the first question, Zach.
Okay. I see there are follow-up statement there. I would target technical project manager, project manager. Okay, I see. So those are roles that you intend to get. All right, first you have to start the very first step. Get yourself certified. Right? It gives you credibility, as mentioned earlier. Now, doesn't matter which area you are in, sales, service, every area has a project to be performed. We may not even realize it, that we are actually managing projects. Almost all of us, right? Whether it's official or unofficial. And since you want to have that career of managing projects, so the first step, of course, sign up for the course, get yourself certified, right? So that will take about a few months, right? And having that certification, it helps in your career prospect. Because advertisement I have seen so far, when it comes to project manager role, they always request for PMP certification. Very common. And it doesn't matter again, because project management role is quite generic. Doesn't matter what industry, doesn't matter what area. And the best part is PMBOK, the standard of project management, is also generic. It's not specific to a certain industry or role. Sure.
Okay. All right. Are you done, Zach? I'll move on to the next question.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. Sagnik Chaudhary has another point. Sagnik Chaudhary says that he has 16 years of experience with L&D. Sorry, one second. Yeah, he has 16 years of experience with L&D, but his current designation is manager. Will PMP help him?
Again, yes, definitely. Yes, doesn't matter what role you have, because project title does not define whether you're managing project or not, or you will manage project or not. Anyone can actually manage project, right? So again, PS 85 PMP, right? You can even move out from L&D, or even in L&D, learning and development, there are a lot of projects to be implemented, right? So again, remember, project manager is a role, not a title. It's a role. Anyone can play that role, right? As and when needed, yes. So it doesn't matter what is your current job title.
Okay. Okay. Amanda Clemens has another question. She's wondering if the time frame and the parameters for the exam itself are the same.
Time frame and parameters. I would assume you're talking about the number of questions and the timing. So it is the same. You have to answer 180 questions in 3 hours, 50 minutes. It's different from PMBOK 6. PMBOK 6 is 200 questions in 4 hours. But it's the same as the previous version of PMBOK. 180 questions in 3 hours and 50 minutes.
Okay. Moving on to the next one. Arun Kumar says, does the overall content change in the new exam, considering some domain slash knowledge areas have only been integrated into one or renamed? He's basically asking if there's any overall content change in the new exams.
Okay, good question. I would say, personally, based on my analysis, the content change is very minor, right? So in terms of processes, scenarios in the exam, is more or less similar, right? Not much has changed. The only changes are names. So like focus areas, from process group, they changed it to focus areas, but you still have 5 of them. And in terms of the performance domains, like I mentioned earlier, even though now it's 7 compared to previous time is 10, but the other domains, the 3 that is not included now, is actually included as well. So they still cover things like integration, scope, schedule, finance, procurement, risk, stakeholders, communications. It remains the same. And the processes, they simplify from 49 to 40, but the process are embedded in other processes so that you cannot, I won't say, why so little? Well, last time 49, how can I do, last time I supposed to perform 49 processes, why now I'm only performing 40? Because those processes are embedded in other processes. So overall content more or less remains the same. Most of the changes are names.
Zach. So,
Okay.
what's the name? So, Nabila Diana, I hope I'm saying the name right. I'm so sorry if I'm not. She says, Mr. Zach, is it relevant for us to keep up with the latest PMBOK edition as a career reference?
As a career reference, I'm not too sure what is the meaning of career reference. Is it in the future or is it current? Maybe Nabila, you can clarify that. If
We'll
you're
we'll
referring,
we'll see if she clarifies that.
yeah, if you're referring to between PMBOK 7 and 8, there's not much change. You can
I
still
think
refer
she's
to
more or
that.
less asking if the latest PMBOK 8 is the way forward, which I believe the answer is yes. Career
Yes,
reference in future after we passed PMP.
yes, but then again, I have to say that there will be new edition every 5 years.
There'll be a new version every 5 years. Got
Every
it.
5 years, yeah. So
So then I
it
guess
won't
people
change.
would have to update themselves every 5 years or so.
Correct, yes.
Okay. I hope that answers your question, Nabila. We'll move on to the next one. Samir Veti asks, after 9th July, do we need to have to go for 35 PDU again, or can we use earlier?
To be honest, you can use the earlier one, the 35 hours that you have gained.
Okay. Shakundala asks uh, to take a PMP exam after July. Only is PMBOK 8 sufficient or version 6 and 7 also to be referred?
All right. If you have PMBOK 8, then you just need to refer to PMBOK 8. Don't need to refer the previous version.
Okay. Omana Dubey says she's preparing for PMP with PMBOK 7. What should be the next steps to clear the exam with PMBOK 8?
Okay, I think it's similar to previous questions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Using a
so
pattern.
this, like I mentioned, the changes are not major, right? So if you are preparing right now based on PMBOK 7, I would say it's still applicable. Yeah,
Okay.
unless of course you want to refresh, you want to specifically based on PMBOK 8 in terms of the focus areas, in terms of domain processes, then you can do so. But if you're preparing based on PMBOK 7, you can just go ahead.
Right. All right. The Amanda Clemens asks again, what is your recommendation for those who took the boot camp a few months ago but are unable to take the exam until the fall?
Okay, I think similar again, this question. You,
Is it?
yeah, if you have taken the course a few months
Right.
ago, I would say that it is still applicable.
Okay.
Unless again, if you want to refresh or for other reasons, to be more specific to Pinball 8.
Okay. Let me just see the next question. So again, Hitesh asks a similar question in the sense that what is the exact effort required for acing the new exam in comparison to the old exam? I'm guessing from what you have said, not too much of a difference, not too much of effort also wasted, if I'm correct.
I would say so, yes.
Okay, we'll just move on to the next. Yeah, I think that would be the only, that was the last question. If no one else has